The program for the upcoming BRICS political dialogue. For more on this story, we cross to our reporter Abongile Dumako, who's standing by. Abongile, can you hear me now? It's Nompu. Well, unfortunately, we seem to be
okay, live from Luthuli House. Yes, Nompu, certainly. After a press conference that we saw happening here, the ANC giving us some details as to what you can expect tomorrow morning as the president of the country and the SG of the ANC will be opening that political party dialogue that will be taking place. But one of the most important issues that also came out of this press briefing was the passing on of the party's former TG, that is now Udada Umendi Msimang. In fact, joining me now is the party's national spokesperson, Pule Mabe. Pule, good afternoon to you, and thank you so much for your time. A sad day indeed for the ANC in the country.
Well, it is very sad. I mean, this has not been a very great year for the ANC. I mean, we are literally accompanying a lot of our stalwarts to their final resting place, and this is a big worry because they are a fountain of wisdom. We draw courage from them. We use their own experience in the movement to understand the tasks that our own generation still need to discharge and fulfill. So, I mean, for lack of a better word, this is like our own wisdom dissipating.
How will the ANC remember this fallen giant?
Well, we will remember Babu Mendi, Tatu Mendi, Uncle Mendi in many ways. He was part of that fearless generation of 1944 of the Congress Youth League, Vugaibambe. He served the Youth League in various other capacities, even as an official. He worked with President Mandela at his law firm and former President Owar Tambo. So he served with both presidents in their law firm. He served articles there back in the early 1960s. Went to exile in London, again with former President Tambo. Came back and was elected to serve in the national executive of the ANC when it was unbent. And was elected at its first conference after unbanning. Was elected at the Mafikeng conference in 1997 to serve as Treasurer General, a position he held until 2007. He later on became part of the Integrity Commission of the ANC, which was charged with the first Integrity Commission, which was charged with the responsibility of asserting values, good values, in the African National Congress, and making sure that there could be a semblance of ethical and leadership from within the ranks of our own movement. He has also been given the order of, Meteorias? Not sure if I'm calling it well, but he was given that order by a former president of the Republic, President Nelson Mandela. He also served again in the committee that dealt with the national orders himself. So this was a leader, an astute veteran whose heart was with the people of this country and understood what was his responsibility as a leader. He was a selfless leader. He was humane, loved his people, committed his time and devoted his own time to the work of the African National Congress.
I know it's still early days, but logistically, do you know what's going to happen now in terms of funeral arrangements and things like those?
Well, we would leave that space to the relevant people for now, including the family. We in the ANC, as soon as we are aware of all logistical arrangements, because we are working with you'll understand that during periods like this, we work closely with families. Once we are briefed, including on who will be speaking on behalf of the family, we'll be coming back again to give details. We'll also be issuing a schedule of various visits, including whether it's memorial services, various activities around the mourning of Uncle Mendi. He was indeed a great leader of this organization. I mean, he sat here at the 8th floor. I mean, we had an opportunity of, when I was Treasurer General of the ANC Youth League, I had an opportunity of working with him because we said in the Treasurers Forum that he chaired, and in that short stint, one had learned a lot from him.
Now let's talk political party dialogue that's taking place tomorrow, where President Ramaphosa will sort of, open that event officially. The governing parties that will be gathering there in Tshwane. What are some of the key issues that are on the table that need discussion by these BRICS countries?
Well, before we go to BRICS countries, just to clarify the last line, that when I was TG, he was actually serving in the Treasurer's committee, which was convened by Comrade Matthew Posa at the time. He was retained because of the role and experience that he would bring. So I had an opportunity of interacting with him during that time as well.
BRICS now, yes. Basically, what's on the table? What's on the agenda? What are some of the key issues that these political parties that are governing in these BRICS countries are going to be discussing tomorrow until Thursday?
Well, this BRICS political dialogue plus has got to do with one, consolidating political stability through multilateralism, which begins to focus on areas of common interest, making sure that one, you drive economic growth, you do all the things that assert the right of citizens in all of the different BRICS countries, especially where we are. I mean, they are coming here because we are a governing party in a BRICS country.
Now, another important issue that is dominating headlines this morning is what unfolded last night, or during the Global Citizen Concert. We understand many people who fell into victim of crime as the ruling party that could have easily deployed forces to actually avert a possibility of what we saw transpire yesterday. What's your reaction?
Well, we are assessing that situation closely. The earlier reports we got from our media relations team was that, of course, police were still waiting for cases to be reported, because if there are no cases that are being reported, because this was largely noises that were coming out of your social media and all of that. So we know that as soon as there are cases, we'll make sure that we get we encourage the security, our own security agencies within the state, to do everything else possible within their power to deal with these issues.
But many, Mr. Mabe, feel that something could have been done before or prior as a precautionary measure, not to even see this thing unfolding.
That's why we're saying that we're monitoring the situation closely. As soon as we know the kind of cases that have been opened, we'll also be following up on the sort of investigations that is there. And I'm sure that those that were charged with the responsibility of putting up this concert will also, at their own time, be able to clarify the sort of security measures that were put in place. I mean, an event like that is one that was supposed to, that conveys a positive message of courage, of hope, of unity amongst our people. I mean, without even going much into the crime issue, I had the rare privilege of attending the event, and I can tell you now that South Africa came alive yesterday. The unity of our people came alive. I mean, when President Ramaphosa took to the podium, just when he said Amandla, and the kind of resonance that came out of there could easily send a message that looks like people are ready for the ANC yet again.
Pule Mabe speaks for the ANC. Thank you so much for your time.
No thanks.
There you have it, Pule Mabe saying that all systems are ready for what's going to happen tomorrow, looking at the fact that there's going to be that political dialogue taking place from tomorrow in Tshwane, and of course touching base and commenting on, in fact, on what we saw transpire at the FNB Stadium last night during the Global Citizen Concert. But with that, for now, it's back to you in studio in Auckland Park.
Thanks for that, Abongile. More news for you after a short break.